name is Matthew Barnes. Welcome to my vlog. This episode will document the demolition of Bonny Street Police Station from the point they started on the tower up until the entire site is gone. I'll also be paying a visit to Morecambe, Skelmersdale, Wigan, St-Helens and Preston for related reasons. I'll take a look at the new police station on the outskirts of Blackpool, and all this will be interspersed with interesting little bits and pieces that I recorded on my wanderings. For example, this pigeon. Day one of the tower's demolition is just about here. Blackpool folklore tells of a giant mythical being, simply referred to as the Beast. It was said to come from a foreign town and was capable of destroying entire police stations with its mouth. This is genuine historical footage of that notorious incident. It only took 4 days for it to do its job, and I reckon the best footage was from day 3, but I'll present it all here in chronological order. Practically everybody in Blackpool with a camera turned up at some point to take a look at it, but unfortunately I didn't manage to get much of that on camera. The Beast is currently attacking some of the concrete panels on the east face of the building. This is the last piece of footage from day 1, taken from the old Bonny Street market grounds. Similar to the Cheshire Police featured on a previous episode, the American police now find themselves lost in Blackpool. Approaching the demolition on the second day, the Beast looms large over the entire town. camera's pointing west, and the top right-hand corner of this building is about to get annihilated. He's cleaning up some of the debris that's fallen down. And after a long day's work, the beast returns to its resting place, proof that even mythical creatures need time to relax. Although while the beast relaxes, the other machines are forced to carry on with their hard labour. This is the end of day 2. Now attacking the southwest corner. I catch a sighting of Frank in Blackpool's drone. is once again pointing south from the Bonny Street Market area. The end of day 3, and suddenly the town feels extremely quiet. Pigeons explore the new terrain. Hopefully they understand that where they are will all be gone by tomorrow. A security sensor is at the top of the old Bonny Street Bridge. These pigeons are hanging out in front of the shop where you get the pigeon seed. Day 4, and the final day of the beast in action. This gentleman has walked in front of my camera. Upside down head travels walks into the shop with his tripod. Beast has moved round to the other side of the police station, ready for one of the most significant moments of the demolition. And that's the final time any of us will ever see some of those beautiful concrete panels. Or is it? Welcome to Morecambe Police Station. Those of you that thought that DSM had stopped the party will be happy to know you can come to Morecambe and bask in the glow of a very similar looking building by the same architect, Roger Booth. It's only about a quarter of an hour's walk from the train station, so it's well worth coming here for a day out, just to sit and look at it. This station's yellow telephone box comes with motivational life advice designed to lift the spirits of anybody that needs to contact the police. Whether this was done by the police or a third party is yet to be determined. They're having trouble opening the windows. They should probably get this fixed soon, because there's probably plenty of criminals out there that are taking a sick sadistic pleasure in knowing that the Morecambe police can't get the fresh air they need. It could also negatively impact their health, leading to reduced job performance, ultimately leading to dangerous criminals evading capture and being free to roam the streets, terrorising the population. At least they can get some windows open, but even so, get them fixed.
You met her today?
No.
No.
This was the only interaction I had with the police, which was disappointing because I wanted to ask them how the loss of Bonny Street Police Station had emotionally impacted them at Morecambe. However, on returning home, I did remember a very friendly member of the public who managed to get out of me in a very quick period of time exactly where I was from and what I was doing there, so it's possible I had more interaction with the police than I thought. Or maybe I was just paranoid because it was my first time filming an active police station. I initially thought this police cat had come over to challenge me on why I was filming, but no. They're about to give me a dirty look because I'm obviously interrupting a pre-arranged social event with another cat. Also worthy of note in Morecambe is this beautiful telephone exchange building. And although I haven't found out who the architects behind this are, I feel a very familiar spirit call forth to me in the presence of the concrete panels. My day trip to Morecambe is done and I return to Blackpool. Returning to the end of day 4, there isn't much left for the beast to do. Dropping it to a level where the normal machines can take over the demolition job. operator of the beast returns home for a well-earned cup of tea. Thus ends the story of the beast. The memory of its rampage of destruction is kept alive in local folklore to be passed down from generation to generation. An average Friday or Saturday night in Blackpool. Sean Threlfall demonstrates his musical proficiency with an instrument that he calls a bongo belly. It's now the post-beast era of the demolition, and it's now up to the smaller machines to finish off the job. Although the footage will still be displayed in chronological order, from this point on, I haven't kept track of exactly what day it is. Funland in the background, DSM in the foreground, an appropriate combination. There's a cone in the hole in the floor, and the rock crushing machine is going for a wash. Welcome to Wigan. A resident pigeon of Wigan, sometimes known as a widgeon, has found a tasty wall to eat. And this is the reason I'm here, to take a look at this building, the Premier Inn. This used to be Wigan Police Station, and it was in the same style as Bonny Street Police Station in Blackpool and Morecambe Police Station. Although its concrete panels were nowhere near as impressive, they didn't have the nice patterns on them, they were just flat and plain. However, it did look very similar. Looking at Google Street View, the change happened sometime between October 2012 and September 2014. Back to the demolition. They're starting to dismantle the beast, ready to ship it out of Blackpool. The detachment of its ravenous jaws truly means that its reign of terror has come to an end. With its destructive power completely neutered, a worker can safely approach the jaw and neatly tuck away its lingering arteries, ready for it to be transported away in a dignified manner. A seagull, realising that the show is over, decides to head off home. The site manager on the left heads over to the dust suppression machine. Is he making sure that every single corner of his site gets the dust suppression that it needs? Or is he enjoying spraying the people on the bridge with a fine mist? And given how hot it was that day, if he is spraying us with a fine mist, is this an act done out of compassion? I personally think he was concerned about our well-being and wanted to cool us down. He walks off as if nothing has happened. They're now securing parts of the beast to trailers. It's not your boy Leroy flies a drone, and the seagull in the background decides to allow it for today. Finally, the beast's caterpillar tracks get escorted off the site. The body of the beast was also meant to be transported that day, but there was a problem with one of the wheels on the trailer, so it was postponed. The wide load crew turn up the next day. Phil Nat 2011 surveys the landscape, looking for the best spot to record. Trying to control the traffic is causing this policeman's blood pressure to rise.
Wait! 2 minutes! Back up! Back up!
And finally, the body of the beast begins its journey south down the promenade. Morecambe to Skelmersdale. Although if you tell the bus driver Skelmersdale, he'll look at you like you're speaking a foreign language. The locals call it Skelm. You probably guessed I was here to see another one of Roger Booth's masterpieces, and you were right. This time, Skelmersdale Public Library. You could spend an eternity looking at the patterns in the concrete and never get bored. If there is a heaven, and you go there, perhaps that's precisely what you'll be doing. Interestingly, just across the road from the library is Skelmersdale Police Station, which, prior to its 18-month renovation work completed in 2021, would have also looked extremely similar to the police station in Morecambe and also Bonny Street Police Station in Blackpool. Although they still complement each other to an extent, it's hard to feel like you didn't miss out by seeing them when they were both extremely similar, down to the matching concrete exterior panels and windows. Just another overlooked wonder of the world, lost to history. At least it retains echoes of the former building and retains its original arches. I probably would have enjoyed it a lot more if I hadn't known what it once was. Once again, I'm walking past the library with the police station in the background.
Walking possibly into the station. Do you need any help? Or?
No, is it alright if I record you? Yeah.
If you want to record us.
Yeah.
How come you've come into the station?
I'm from Blackpool. I'm doing a video on the demolition of a police station that happened down there.
Okay.
This place was done by the same architect.
Right.
And so was your police station before it got renovated, just after COVID.
Okay,
So that's why I'm here. Yeah.
Yeah? Okay. So the library was done as well, was it?
Yeah.
Are you saying?
Yeah.
Okay.
I know it was a bit cheeky walking in, but you know.
Yeah, no, obviously, like that does raise alarm bells if you come into the station.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you like the new station? You prefer it when it was older?
I didn't work here when we had the old station,
Right,
so when I
okay.
started we were at Ormskirk. But yeah, it's a good station, it's fairly modern, it's a good station, yeah.
Yeah. What an absolutely shocking opinion issued by a Skelmersdale police officer. She must have known what it used to look like, and yet she seems to experience absolutely no loss whatsoever. I guess you must have a very different perspective when you have to work there.
Right, we're going to get back inside the station now, okay?
Okay.
Obviously, just be mindful, like, yes, okay, you can take pictures from out here, but you're not to come into the police yard, okay? So that is just for police vehicles.
I didn't go into the yard. I walked into the reception and that was it. I walked out
Right, if
again.
you're in the reception, that's fine.
Yeah.
One of my colleagues said that you were sort of like in the yard, sort of where you have to put your warrant card on to get through.
No, I stood by the gates filming a few cars come out, and that was it,
right,
yeah.
Okay. Right, no problem. Right, I'll see you
Okay.
later. I'll take care.
See ya. I think this was the shot that was getting them nervous, because I do walk past the bit where you scan your warrant card. However, I didn't recognise that during the conversation, because to my mind, I didn't enter the yard, and so we didn't get to have that conversation. One thing that stands out about Skelmersdale is the sheer amount of green space. breaking news in Blackpool as I discover a police officer going to McDonald's for his lunch. I wanted to ask him what it was that he bought, but when I saw the look on his face as he left, I decided against becoming a potential police brutality statistic, and so I failed in my journalistic duty.
You would get a ticket for that, but
Work is starting on a unit by Blackpool North tram station. It's going to become Pizza Amigo. Work had been suspended on the Working Men's Club demolition site, and the site had been left unsecured by a back alley. People were concerned about this because there's plenty of idiots around that would have thought it was a good idea to actually walk on the demolition site with no concerns for their safety. It's difficult to imagine the mentality of someone who would do such a thing. Returning to the Bonny Street demolition site, a popular YouTuber has left their notes on the floor. It's the one place they didn't need to get them out, as their notes for this place simply said "gone." It turns out they were notes from a multi-part series called What's New in Blackpool, published by Visit Filed Coast. If there's one thing I want you to remember from this video, it's this man's ability to balance his tool upright in his hand. He walks off with a well-earned swagger. About to pick up that door. Destroying this pillar of concrete is going to prove difficult. He gives up. It's the end of the day, and another workman decides to give it a shot. But quickly decides he'd rather go home and put his feet up. Having seen the trouble it caused the others, the next workman decides not to even bother. Good decision, really. Workers set up an exhibit for a series called Wednesday, drawing a swarm of sandflies on Blackpool Promenade. Here you can see one walking over the camera lens. It's obviously a well-loved series, and plenty of people are enjoying the exhibit. But would they have enjoyed it if they knew the inhumane conditions the workers had to endure. There's still technically time for the graffiti artists to finish off this green man, if they were really dedicated. A map of the Fylde coast hangs proudly on the wall, so far defiantly resisting all attempts to demolish it. think it's safe to say the fate of the Green Man has been sealed, and it will forever remain in the historical record as something that never got finished. A bit. Welcome to St. Helens. I'm currently looking at the train station, and I don't usually like saying things like, wow, look at that, as people can see what you're pointing your camera at, and they can have their own reactions. But I'll make an exception for this one. Wow, look at that. I also came across another large demolition site. However, I imagined Pat the site manager's disappointed face if he ever discovered that I was committing demolition site infidelity, and so I decided not to spend much time looking at it. And this is the reason I'm here, St-Helens Police Station, another police station similar to Bonny Street Police Station. Although I imagine the police here are a little bit embarrassed about the lack of height compared to other police stations in the same style. Although I guess they can say at this point, it's now bigger than the one at Bonny Street. Going down one of the side roads, this is a dead end that leads to the police vehicle yard. They don't have the same indented pattern on the concrete panels, instead opting for a rough, speckled finish. And now the view from the side road on the other side, which also contains an access point to the vehicle yard. And of course, no visit to St-Helens Police Station would be complete without taking in the sights and sounds from the rear of the building while standing in a public car park. And after an exciting day out, I returned to Blackpool. A seagull stages a protest against this lorry by blocking the street. Remains attached to one of the walls. A radiator no longer remains attached to one of the walls. notorious young seagull's failure to wear high visibility clothing or head protection as per the site rules places it at serious risk of death. The Working Men's Club has now been completely demolished, and this gate, meant to keep people out of the alley, isn't really doing its job anymore. It's the night of the Illuminations switch on in Blackpool, and armed police settle down to a difficult night's work of parents asking them to pose for photographs with their children. I wasn't particularly interested in the switch on. The sole reason I came out this day to film was so I could capture video of this man. He's wearing a new concept security vest on which the first C of concept is lowercase. It should be a capital letter. I've spotted this vest on multiple occasions in the past, and I've still yet to work out whether it's just one with this error or there are multiple. I've never seen more than one on a single night. How do they decide who gets the dodgy vest? Here's some old historical footage of a security guard wearing the vest on Bonny Street Police Station. And here's a photograph of the same vest at Ride the Lights 2024.
Go away, mate. Go away.
Despite the ongoing mayhem, the McDonald's security guard seems completely unperturbed. He decides to let the police in, despite them clearly being involved in whatever's going on outside. Spicehead's media crew turn up to film the arrest. Like I said, I wasn't too fussed about filming the switch on, because all the excitement was walled off behind security fences. I went home for a cup of tea instead, and came back out when they were on. Scotty may have a lot of things, but he doesn't have the ability to distinguish between tea towels and sunglasses. The security sensor is no longer at the top of the old Bonny Street Bridge. You know things are getting serious at the Bonny Street demolition when they bring out the brushes. Preston bus station. Check out that enticing mix of open space, curved roads and rigid straight lines, all parts working seamlessly together to create a well-regulated, harmonious whole that functions like clockwork. Or at least that's what I assume. I actually arrived in Preston by train. I'm heading away from the bus station towards the Magistrates' Court. The tall red building behind the white Magistrates' Court is called Lawson Halls, and it's currently being used as student accommodation, and it's the reason I'm here today. Those arches near the bottom of the building probably give it away. This used to be the site of another police station that was in the same style as Bonny Street Police Station in Blackpool. Heading past Lawson Halls in the opposite direction to the Magistrates' Court, this wall on my right should feel very familiar to people well acquainted with the Bonny Street site. The area above is being used as a car park, and you'll be excited to know that I'm going to go up and take a look in a short while. Wherever you look, you can feel the echoes of the past. That concludes my visit to Preston. There's a leak under the sink at an old demolition site on Blackpool Promenade. Back at the Bonny Street site, demolition work begins on the grass. They're not going for a full demolition. The idea here is they just want to reduce the height of each blade. A bobcat reopens Bonny Street. And a black fence is erected around the perimeter. Bonny Street car park has been reopened, and the max headroom sign on the gate has changed from 6'3" to 6'1". Welcome to the new Blackpool Police Station on the outskirts of town, next to Tesco's. It makes the old Bonny Street Police Station seem absolutely tiny by comparison. I'm walking down Jerry Richardson Way towards the back of the police station, where the entrance and exit gates for the vehicles are. Who knows what trials and tribulations this car had to endure, but at least now it gets to safely return home. The workman loads another police car onto his lorry, presumably to give it the tender love and care it needs to make a full recovery. And now I'll return to the Bonny Street site for the final day of the demolition. The workers stand around the fuel tank performing a ritualistic farewell ceremony. They're just packing up the final things. The beloved metal fences that we've all come to know and love and even consider as companions are transported without any special fanfare off the site. Does this blue tank know just how much destruction its existence has managed to help fuel? A worker makes a very stylish exit from his bobcat. And now they're placing down concrete blocks to seal up the entrance. The final piece of machinery exits the site and seals up the entrance behind him. Adventures await these pieces of machinery as they begin their travels away from the Bonny Street site. Pay very close attention, because if you blink you might miss it. You're about to witness the very moment that DSM officially declare this project finished. This absolutely mammoth project that's been going on for over half a year. Brace yourselves and get ready in 3, 2, 1.
That's us done, mate.
And just like that, it's all over. And here it is, an empty space where Bonny Street Police Station used to stand. This emptiness, this void, this glaring absence, this sense of annihilation you feel is the fate of everything that exists. It's tempting to say that Bonny Street Police Station will never die. It remains alive in the hearts and memories of everyone who was touched by it. But even those thoughts, feelings and experiences await the same fate. Everything and everyone you know and care about, it all comes to an end. There is no escaping the cosmic demolition man. Ashes to ashes and dust to dust. Except not even this phrase properly captures the situation we find ourselves in, because ultimately, not even the ashes or the dust will remain. In the end, there will be absolutely nothing but absence. I hope you enjoyed my vlog. Thank you for watching.